transition out of the military can be a mind-bending experience.
When the purpose of the army is removed from a person, it is legitimately like most of them is removed.
Being a member of the military, you always work in teams and units, and you end up with quite a close network of friends. When you leave the military, you sort of lose that side of things.
I'm not surprised that isolation is a big problem for people coming out. As I left the army, I was on a course of antidepressants, painting, using tabletop stuff. That's what helped me, basically.
I did take miniatures over to Iraq with me to paint. It just relaxes. It's quite therapeutic. I've always enjoyed tabletop gaming, different strategies and tactics. In Iraq, on exercise, I was actually inventing a game, so I was playtesting a set of rules with a couple of guys who never played wargaming before.
I was an infantry officer for 8 years, served in Afghanistan twice. When I play war games now with friends, the methods and the mentality that I had then can translate into the playing experience sometimes. I've created a game called Foxhounds. I want something that's very easy to play, very low rules count, but still deals with the endurance of combat. You're not the same person at the end of an engagement as you are at the beginning of it. I want people playing it to have a challenge to maintain the combat effectiveness of the units in their force, to consider what they're asking of their troops.
Wargaming community has a lot of different people from different elements of life, male, female, from different backgrounds, ethnicities, very varied. The whole community is very welcoming.
Before long, you realise there's a massive community out there, and you begin to think that maybe that's something I could contribute towards.
It provides a sense of belonging, a group of people like-minded who enjoy a hobby that you can engage with and have fun with playing games and doing miniatures.
We've made a 3D set with 3D models and a company of makers. Steve said, you need to 3D print some terrain, and then next time I came for playtesting, he'd put in front of me sort of 6 Tesco bags full of these hexagons. I thought, right, that's unbelievable, and got to work putting them all together and covering the house in glue.
That's what I really do like. The creative side of stuff, the story, it's incredibly therapeutic. Being someone who has always had dramas with mental health, being able to have something just immediately sink and focus on is brilliant. I can sit down with a brew and paint a toy soldier, or I can build one, or I can try and write something about them. I can actually relax about something. It stopped me from going into that, the spiral.
The best thing about it is the playtesting. It's been brilliant playing with people, watching them break the game by accident, and then feed back into the rules and make something better.
The painting side of it, that's where I sort of went from being a bit nervous to actually teaching people with company of makers.
It's incredible, really. It's company makers connecting veterans with creative pursuits that can lead to meaningful welfare interventions. It's a really different angle on support for veterans. Hopefully the Foxhounds game does help to expand that community, because who knows where that can take people, who knows what that can lead to for the better. It's good to be part of.
If the floor suddenly gets pulled out from underneath you, being able to go, I can always go with my friends and do something I enjoy, no matter what. That is your thing that keeps you up. I was strolling through town and I happened to pass one of the Games Workshop stores, and I'd seen it around loads and loads, but I never went in there, and I thought, go on then, I'll have a quick look. So walking into that Games Workshop store, there was some art in the window for the Horus Heresy stuff, and it was this one. And it clearly had an effect on me, because I walked in there, and to this day I still collect the Ultramarines because of this, and with Neil Roberts art, that's what brought me into the shop basically. So yeah.
My name's Neil Roberts. I'm an artist, illustrator. You don't realise that your work has an impact until you're told that. There's a connection between what I do and how people enjoy the hobby that people love, and I am lucky to be part of that. I was brought up on RAF bases, my dad served. Sometimes when people tell me stories about where they've been reading the books, whilst they've been serving, in some, pretty full-on places, it makes you realise that books and pictures have meaning in ways that I couldn't have predicted.
Knowing that no matter what, there was always a community was a big safety blanket. I found my very specific niche of nerd, basically.
I love war games, I love the community, and I love how it brings people together.
But the wargaming community is really good for things like isolation.
It's got to be good for you. It's got to be good for your mind. I enjoyed thinking about what it can lead to and how it can give something to other people. A game to play, something to connect over. It's a new challenge.